You're the interrogation of trial. Your version of the truth is all that matters.
Truth is singular. Its versions are mistruth.
Hey guys, I'm just gonna have to get used to this new setup. Okay, so now let me get over once again, to where I can see the chat. I clicked the live to go live, and then it didn't go live. So, hey Pri, how are you? Tonight I want to talk about patterns and scripts and what they do, and how once we are aware that they're going on, and what they do to impact us, then we can avoid falling into the trappings of them. So once you start to notice the patterns, then you start to follow along with the scripts, and they depend on us to push the narrative out onto each other. And certain topics work every time until you start seeing the patterns and start understanding that it is to pull a lower vibration. That word is becoming so old and worn out. It's almost like we need something different. But the lower emotional status of us, where it brings out anger, judgment, vengeance, things of that nature. So, first pattern I want to talk about. And we discovered this one a long time ago when they had the Boys Town, and then the fall guy that they had for that one was Larry King, where these children were being smuggled into the White House and doing all these types of things. Then we had the McCarthy daycare that had all these tunnels and everything underneath of a daycare center, where parents were coming and going all day long, dropping their children off and picking them up as they go to and from work. And it destroyed that family and their living. And the fall guy for that one was the son. So here we are again with that pattern of children, and this time in England. And I'm skipping some because, of course, anybody that sees these patterns knows there are several in between. Pizzagate, for example, and all of these different ones. And the reason that they use this is because we, as loving beings, love our children. Now, another one I want to talk about is, 9/11 traumatized us. Okay, that was a big trauma, but they've had some in the past also to traumatize the nation, to get them in fear so they will comply and go after whoever it is that they set their sights on, whether it be for oil or whatever spoil that they're wanting. So they get the people all riled up wanting justice and things like that, so that it's cause and effect. They cause an event, and then they get the effect that they want. It's a control type situation. Now, so with the children, it pulls at our heartstrings. Now, as yourself, as a human being, you know how you feel about children. It's unthinkable what some of these people, come out and say are happening to children. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't a fraction, very small fraction of, kind of twisted individuals, all right? But for it to be a whole conglomerate, like the whole government's in on it, the whole entire city or the whole school's in on it. My mother was a teacher. I was a foster parent. My husband was a foster parent. My son's aunt ran the social service department in Oklahoma, where we became foster parents and started bringing in children, troubled children. We were on our way to adopt one and actually move them with us to California. And she was a teenager, and she couldn't handle the culture shock. So she went back to Oklahoma, and she's a bright young lady. I think us having her we had her for over 4 years, did change the direction of her life, and she's got a family of her own now, and she's doing wonderful. But being a foster parent, the things that we had to go through, the home inspections, the classes we had to take, the background checks, all the interview processes, the pop-ins, taking all the children to their counseling meetings, and then going to the court hearings with the parents, whether they're doing the compliance to what was required to get their children back, if that was possible. The one we were going to adopt, it wasn't possible for her to return to the home because of what was going on there, and nothing changed. So that's why we were heading towards adopting her. Not only that, you spend some time with the child and you welcome them into your home and into your family. They become your family. You love them as if they're your own child. So having some experience in to say a whole social services is in on something this distasteful. I don't know how many of you guys have heard this stuff going on through the rumor mill, but they count on us to pass around this information, to pull at our heartstrings, to want vengeance, and to be angry with people who do these types of things. Rightfully so for the people who do these types of things. But to think that it's a huge industry and everybody's in on it, we really need to think about it. Now, the second one I was talking about was fear. Now we've got this Iran deal going on, which is a fear tactic, and another beating on the drums of war. But when you start to see these patterns, you can't unsee them. So you start to see the tools that they use to propagate their agenda, and they use us as a tool to pass this around to everyone, to scare the bejeebers. Now, I watched the first part with the interview with the little girl. Now, dealing with children who have come from very serious situations, they don't talk so freely. That would be more like, it seems to me like a lot of coaching from mom. There might be a divorce going on, because we dealt with that kind of stuff from my husband's ex-wife. Feeding the kids. Hi, Dad. Hi, Pri. So we dealt with that kind of stuff from his ex-wife. because she was afraid we were going to get custody of the children because our home was more suitable than hers. And then she disappeared with the kids for 8 months. It was horrible. It's absolutely horrible, you know, very heartbreaking on my husband because we love children so much. But, you know, it took a lot of counseling, and truly abused children, it's really sad, you know, to say this, but a truly abused child doesn't talk about it. They love their mom and their dad, and they don't want to be in the system, so because they've had experience in there. Sorry about my dogs. So a lot of times they don't speak up. It's up to us to see the bruises and the markings and the, you know, whatnot on the child, and try and help that child the best that we can without emotionally damaging them. Because removing a child from their home is emotionally damaging. So I just want, you know, everyone to be aware that these kind of patterns and these kind of scripts, they come around as often as they need them to, in order to get us wanting, with anger, heartbreak, you know, lashing out, war, justice, when it could be all propaganda. And all of us know, as we've been listening to mainstream media, that 99% of it is propaganda. So when we already know that, to fall for this over and over again is something that we need to really think about and understand that not everything that is put in our face or videoed, you know, as soon as he left the room with her, she looked at the camera and did some weird thing with her tongue, and I was like, whoa, you know. And she spoke so fast, and it's just not, at least not my experience that I had with the children who had to be removed, which is emotionally traumatizing to begin with. Now, I realize this little girl was with her mother, but if this happened or was going on with this child, she looked awful chatty about it, very upbeat. She showed no signs of body language type abuse. Very open and forward about telling her tale or telling her experience. And I'm not making a judgment one way or the other on that case in specific. But the grand scope of the case is what makes me question it. Hi, Dennis. How are you? So when we're looking at these things, I meant to come on yesterday, but I forgot that I was hooked up to live streaming on DLive with their key code, and I didn't have anything set up on DLive, so I was like, "Rah!" So here I am tonight. Because I know on the video I posted yesterday, which is the first one in a long time, because I've been taking a break, as we all need breaks, you know. And also, you know, when this kind of information, and I'm sure just about everybody in my chat stream has heard it. Oh, by the way, turn your chat over to live chat. I'm going to do that right now. Because for some reason, top chat only will show like my Blue Wrench people or whatever, if I even leave the chat up. Because this is a pretty controversial topic. So if you're here for it, you're here for it. I probably will cover up the chat so that way, you know, keep your opinions between us, and nobody else needs to know. And there's really not many people here because I like to spontaneously come on late. So, anyways, I'm sure all of us have heard. She looked uncomfortable or nervous, wasn't sure what to say on the show. She's English, and so she had the mannerisms of, being in England. The descriptions, the story was, well, like I said, from dealing with abused and traumatized children, and also sexually abused children. It's not like it's not like that. But like I said, I'm not making judgment on the specific case. Maybe she was abused. Maybe it was her father. But to make it into a huge, all the teachers are in on it. They got underground tunnels and they go to different places, and the school, the whole school's in on it. Everybody was in on it. Everybody. All the adults. Except for her mom. But we did discover that they are going through a nasty custody battle. So, you got to take in all the facts before we judge anybody in any type of criteria. Could you imagine a whole school, every teacher, like I said, with my mother being a teacher, she would not go for that. Period. To say that all the teachers, the principal, everybody in that school was in on it, and that they would do these horrible things in the kitchen, and then feed the baby meat to the children for their lunch. What? Come on, you guys. Children's imaginations can run wild, especially if they're attention starved. So, and that may be the case also, and this is getting them a lot of attention. Mom and dad are battling it out. He may be Disneyland dad, and she's mom, and, custody battle. I don't know, but it's really hard. Just like the daycare center, with the parents coming in and out and grabbing their kids and whenever they would get off work, and some people did shift work, and some people did, they would go in at different times of day. And when they looked and they searched, they didn't find any underground tunnels. They found nothing in that daycare. Plus the daycare, the whole front side of the daycare was all clear glass windows. You could see right in it. So, we got to look at what the circumstances are that are surrounding it. That would mean that a whole city is nothing but pedophiles. So no child there. So there should be more than 2 children coming forward and talking about this. But like I said, with my own experience with them, it takes a lot of counseling. You can tell by their body language. They cross their arms a lot. They'll pick at their fingers. They'll have like fidgety, they're traumatized, and it's obvious. It's an obvious trauma, and I didn't see any of that body language. I just didn't. Hi, Marianne. How are you? So don't be a catalyst on passing around information that can cause people to have, a heartbreak, wanting justice, wanting vengeance. Pray for them, always. with love, with the intentions of love, and realize that not everything we hear is the entire truth. A lot of fantastic stories are told to keep us under control. And that's why by seeing the patterns, and I'm not the only one that can see the patterns. There's many of you guys that can see the patterns, can see the script. It's plain to see once you see it. You can't unsee it. So, and I'm just bringing up two topics of major ones that they use for control mechanisms, over us. And I just don't want to see any of you guys, any of my lovies here falling for that rabbit hole, because that's what it is. It's a rabbit hole. And wanting justice in their heart. Keep your intentions high. Keep the love vibration high. Love these children unconditionally, no matter what. They're innocent. Coached, whatever's going on there, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They don't understand. They don't understand the harm they could be causing to their own father, by putting him in prison. But, you go through a cafeteria, and also, believe it or not, I worked in a school cafeteria just for 1 year, though. I didn't much care for it. I was trying to take a break from restaurant management, and I was going to school, and also my children were in school at the same time I was at work, which worked out perfect. But you could see right into the kitchen, and so you would be able to see what's in the cupboards, because you got the food line that they're going through, and then on the other side you got burritos and pizza that came in from Domino's and the other stuff, Subway sandwiches and stuff like that. Then you had this school lunch side. But on the school lunch side, you could see straight into the kitchen. It was right there. So to be able to identify an object in the kitchen or what cabinet it's in, all it takes is for somebody to open that cabinet, which we would be back there opening cabinets, and if we were running short on something, we were hurrying it up and making more of it. If we had a hot commodity, that everybody was wanting, that was on the main lunch menu. Hi, Brenda. Let's see, did I miss anybody else? Hi, Janice. How are you? Yeah. Yep. And that's where it goes to, Marianne, is it's spiritually abusing us by keeping us at a lower function, wanting revenge, wanting to harm others over okay. Think about a prison. What is the worst crime you could commit that even the worst of the worst of the worst prisoners will kill you for? You go in there, they have to really watch you or put you in solitary, because you've got rapists and murderers and armed robbers and in prison, and they go into prison. There's one crime that every prisoner in there will kill you for, and that is touching a child. They have no tolerance for it whatsoever. A little research will tell you that. So if our criminals will take care of it on the inside, how much more are we? We just need to see it for what it is. It's if it's so big and so grand, there's something wrong with the story. They're wanting a reaction out of the public. They're wanting us to share it. They're wanting our hearts broken. They're wanting us to stay in a weakened and vulnerable state where we can't control our own emotions. And that's the same with wars and things like that. Once we get traumatized, then all we want is justice and protection and more government, more this, more that. We're sovereign, guys. We're smart. And we can see through all the BS. And that's all I wanted to really, talk about. Now I'll leave it open if you guys want to talk about something else. Also, messing with the elderly is a no-no. That's true. You're right, Dad. That is true. My aunt that passed away that I would go down and take care of, she was staying in a facility. She got moved around to a couple because she is kind of ornery. They had a hard time dealing with her. So, but at each place, she was well cared for. I don't know, maybe it's because they knew we were going to come in every day, but I didn't see anybody else really getting abused or anything like that. The side you'd really need to worry about would be like the Alzheimer's side. They tend to fall down, and they keep those floors like the hard marble type tile. And so if they fall down or fall out of their wheelchair, they'll hurt themselves. It's sad. It's sad. Hi, Brenda. How we could be us. To forgive the perpetrators. To try to master forgiveness. I'm a work in progress on that one. Well, I think if people are doing this, they need to do the time for their crime. Okay, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I don't think that a whole city would be in on it. I don't think a whole daycare with a tunnel system, or when we heard about Boys Town and these kids saying they were being put on jets and taken to the White House, and they landed that one off on Larry King. This is not a one-time occurrence. They've played this script over and over and over again because it does cause a heart-wrenching reaction from us. That's all I'm asking, is for people to use discernment, do some research, do some homework, find out a little more for yourself, look into body language, look into how, kids of trauma, look into some psychology on it. It wouldn't really take much for you to do a little research and see right through it, if you don't already. The redundancy of having the same scripts playing over and over, just at different locations, different parts of the world. It's the same script, slightly different narrative, but, I don't know. Not buying it. Not buying it. I need more proof. I need more than a couple of children who have the same mother and the same father going through a custody battle to come forward and start talking about this. Yes, stop being triggered. And that is exactly, Dennis, that's exactly what it's about. And if you need to further your education so that it doesn't trigger you to get into those lower vibrations, and because we want to be, looking out for one another, taking care of each other, and we love our children. What happens is we end up overprotecting our children, and it's our job as parents to raise our children to become good adults, to be able to think for themselves. And we end up smothering our children. Don't want them to go outside, so what else can they do but play on, a game station, which then leads to a computer, and there's a lot of freaks on the computer. So, and they hide behind the keyboard. So, just things to think about. And how are they learning to, get their first job as a paper boy, or, the things that they could be out learning to do to be self-sufficient and be a good, productive, adult that can stand on their own. They can't live with us forever. We're not going to be able to take care of them forever. We're going to go sometime. No fear, just love and light. Exactly. So I hope that I got my point across. I just really, it breaks my heart for the people that are talking about this and spreading this around on the internet. But all we can do is pray, meditate. When I say prayer, that's when we're talking. When I say meditate, that's when we're listening and loving each other. We all love our children. We all look out for the neighborhood children. It's just like, that's what communities do. So, yeah. I love that, Janice. Fear knocked on the door. Love answered. No one was there. That I need to... Okay, hold on. Use what triggers you as a learning experience to teach you what needs to be exposed that you need to deal with. LOL. What? No, well, I never really thought about it that way. That maybe they haven't seen all the other patterns. I just brought this up to just hope that people can rise above it and not let those lower you down. I got enough going on. Shoot, I mean, I don't. I think I'm as low as I can go. Christmas was hard, but made it through it. Actually had a pretty good Christmas with my granddaughter, so yeah. Yeah, I do love what Janice said. Yes, unconditional love. Unconditional love for everybody. And pray for anybody and everybody. We should always be praying for one another. Always. Always, always, always. So, I didn't make this video to trigger anybody. It was more like, please don't fall for it. And if you come across it, somebody puts it up and you see it, if some more people have joined the room, I don't know if they've seen it yet, then just do a little homework, do a little research, and you'll see that it's something that is run over and over again, just like 9/11, which I'll tell you, that traumatized me. It triggered me, or whatever. It traumatized the whole United States. So whenever war comes up, of course, we don't like it. We don't like it. I don't want to hurt anybody. I do not. That's the last thing. Anything, I would help anybody. Because I love people. We always don't see eye to eye, and that's okay. That's what keeps it interesting. But, you know, we can have cordial conversations and swap information. Because this channel is all about sharing what you know and listening so we can all grow. Always, Dennis. What did Dennis say? Oh, wait. Did he say something after that? Be truthful and lift one another up. Yes, and that was not a nerdy comment. Like a nerdy face. Or is that supposed to be me with my glasses? Am I a nerd? Could be. Because I do some research. I look into things before I come on and just, you know, and make sure that my facts are in order, you know, with I looked up 4 different occasions that this narrative was used on us at this scale. So, yeah. And it did, Brenda. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. We were shown it over and over and over again on the television for days. So, and I'm sure it was shown around the world. And it was a horrible, horrible thing. But now that's changed even. I mean, you know, when they said to pull 7, now it looks more like a controlled demolition. So maybe nobody was even in the building, except for, I'm sure some firefighters went in there. I'm not, you know, I think there was casualties. I really think there was casualties there. But I'm not so sure about the narrative that they gave us for it. The Michelle icon. Is that my icon? This is glasses with the nose. Oh my gosh. You guys. There. Now you gotta take the glasses off me. I can't read your comments. No, I'll stay the nerdy one. I guess it's better to do a little homework before a presentation than it is to just come on and just wing it. I appreciate you guys all being here. I'm going to keep this one short. I'm seeing myself on camera now trying to read the screen. Oh my gosh. I definitely need to keep the glasses on. My eyes were like squinting, and yeah. I love you guys, and you know, look for patterns. You know, look for the scripts that roll over and over and over again, and overcome them, and be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. And always share what you know and listen so we can grow. I love you guys so much. Peace.